Well, the idea of priming is that the context doesn't merely, well, the idea of priming is different from the standard view that we have of what an association is. When we think of an association, we think that A leads to B, but that's not the case. Actually, A activates many, many possibilities. So if I mention the word doctor, or then you're thinking of illnesses, then of nurses, then of hospitals. You're not thinking of them consciously, but they're all ready in your mind. And so that is priming. I have an example that you may want to censor, actually, of priming that happened to me. And I wish it had happened in time for me to include that in the book, but it will give the idea of what's happening here. So my wife and I were out with a couple one evening, and then we come home, and of course we talk about that, and my wife makes the comment about the gentleman in that couple that he's sexy. So, okay. And then the next thing she says is completely bizarre. I mean, she says he doesn't undress the maid himself.
He doesn't address the maid himself.
Undress the maid himself. He doesn't undress the maid himself. And I think, what's happened to my wife? I mean, she has gone out of her mind. I mean, you know, what's going on? Well, it turns out this is not what she had said. She had actually said he doesn't underestimate himself. And I had heard it, but with absolute clarity. Doesn't undress the maid himself. So that one word, sexy, had shaped my mind. So that, you know, I gave an utterly bizarre interpretation to a somewhat ambiguous sound. I never noticed the idea that he, you know, that he doesn't underestimate himself could be heard this way. But I was primed. That's what we call priming.